The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has downplayed threats of war issued by Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni over access to the port of Mombasa and the Indian Ocean, insisting Museveni is well aware of international territorial laws. But experts warn that his remarks, including a claim that he, quote, owns the Indian Ocean through Kenyan transit, risk straining bilateral relations and the cohesion of the East African community.
I give Kenya 8 hours to surrender the Indian Ocean to Uganda.
But that ocean belongs to me. Because where is my ocean? I am entitled to that ocean. In the future, we are going to have wars. In the future, we are going to have...
Cheki Ruto, unangoja nini mjama? Museveni amesema katambi. Hata pia ya kishangori msee.
Yesterday, a story was trending on social media. The story was in regards to the president of Uganda, General Museveni, after he made a territorial threat to the Kenyan Defense Forces and to the Kenyan president, the chief in command of all armed forces, Bwana President William Ruto. Museveni stated that the territorial sovereignty of Kenya is at stake when it comes to taking over the Indian Ocean. For him, Museveni stated that Uganda is a landlocked country and he has been in conversation with Kenya for a very long time, and he believed that in future there will be wars that will be fought between Kenya and Uganda for the sake of Indian Ocean. Remember, Indian Ocean, through the Kenyan coastal, it borders Kenya. So Museveni was insisting that he also needs a stake at the Kenyan ports in Indian Ocean. Something that was propelled by his son also and echoed by his son, General Muhonzi, who is the commander or the leader of the Ugandan People Defense Forces. Now that was an actual threat to the Kenyan government. Remember, in the past, the Ugandan Kenyan government have fought over territorial borders for some time. During the Idi Amin's time, when he was the president of Uganda, he went against the then president of Kenya, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. He wanted to extend the borders of Uganda to Naivasha, cutting Kenya into a half. But Moi beat him in his own game. Now it is upon Ruto to take the matter into his own hands, because that is a direct threat to the sovereignty of the Republic of Kenya. But instead of doing that, President William Ruto seems to be giving Museveni all the tools he needs to invade Kenya. As we speak, a high-level Ugandan military delegation led by Major General Francis Takwirwa, visited Kenya for a benchmarking mission with the Kenya Defense Forces. The team was hosted by Brigadier Peter Limo at Moi Air Base and toured DEFWES facilities, including the Defwes Mall in Embakasi. The visit came days after President Yoweri Museveni warned of possible future wars over access to the Indian Ocean. Museveni's remarks reignited debate on regional integration, with Uganda heavily relying on Kenya's coastal ports. Uganda's military sent a high-level delegation to Nairobi for a benchmarking mission with the Kenya Defense Forces. This, we cannot say it is due to the goodwill of Uganda or it's because it wants to learn from Kenya. It's because they are coming here to exploit the possibilities of how they can invade our country. The Kenyan people are speaking about this. They are calling upon the president to react. Now, the mission comes after President Yoweri Museveni warned of a possible war, as I said. Now, the Uganda People Defense Forces UPDF delegation led by Deputy Commander Land Force Major General Francis Takwirwa visited the Defense Forces Welfare Service, DEFWES, headquarters at Moi Air Base in Eastleigh. Now, according to the KDF, The team was hosted by Brigadier Peter Limo, the managing director. Now, Limo explained to the UPDF delegation Kenya's comprehensive approach to military welfare, veterans care, and post-service support system. The visit aimed to strengthen bilateral cooperation between the two armies and promote the exchange of ideas on welfare management, housing, healthcare, and education for soldiers and their families. Major General Takwiro's team also toured DEFWES facilities, including the warehouse and the Defoes Mall in Embakasi, which supports the military families. The visitors were also briefed on how KDF runs its cooperative societies, manages veterans' welfare programs, and implements sustainable income generating ventures that benefit serving members and retirees alike. During the courtesy call on Kenya Air Force Commander Major General Bernard Waliwala, the Ugandan delegation was urged to identify practical models that could be emulated to improve the UPDF. UPDF's Takwiro praised the KDF for what he described as an innovative and structured welfare system, stressing that Uganda would adopt lessons from the visit. And I read from what the Kenya Defence Forces posted on their social media pages. UPDF delegation visits Kenya Defence Forces Welfare Services. A delegation from the Uganda People Defence Forces, UPDF, conducted a benchmarking visit to the Defence Forces Welfare Services as part of ongoing effort to enhance the welfare and well-being of military personnel and their families. Now, why UPDF's visit to Kenya matters now? While the visit was officially framed as a technical exchange on welfare management, its timing will stir regional interest as it comes after Museveni's strong warning about future wars. Museveni accused coastal African nations of unfair denying landlocked states like Uganda access to the Indian Ocean. He compared the continent's geography to a condominium block, arguing that all countries, regardless of location, should have equal rights to the shared compound. He painted the idea of exclusive ownership of the ocean as madness, warning that such arrangement could trigger wars in the future. Museveni also lamented that Uganda's lack of direct sea access had complicated efforts to build a naval unit for defense and had limited economic growth. The Ugandan president further recounted long-standing infrastructure dispute with Kenya over railways and pipelines that connect Uganda to the coast. The Kenyan's coastal ports, particularly Mombasa, serve as a vital gateways for Uganda, Rwanda, South Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And I quote Museveni, "The political organization in Africa is irrational. Some countries have no access to the sea not only for economic purposes, but also for defense purposes. In the future, we are going to have wars." Now, that is a statement from a president of a country warning a president of another country. But you open your doors to welcome their delegation. Also, not just a normal government delegation. These are military personnel, people with the knowledge and the experience of trying to deduce certain matters on how Kenyan military operates. Now, what are Kenyans saying? I see Jedi Wambua saying these are spies, don't be naive. Thomas Ondai anasema, how can you open our armor stores to our enemies? Kenya needs sober leaders because of General Muhonzi utterances. How he can overrun our forces to have a good reason to deny these guerrillas access to our country. Celestio saying prevention is better than cure, watch out. Jackson Korira anasema, imagine you are showing your enemy the machines you have and your strength. Benson Mwangi anasema, those are spies of cause of a possible attack from Museveni, but because we are good Kenyans, we shall open all the doors for them to see and plan for their next move. When mjinga sana. James Juki anasema, be careful, they might be in a spying for Uganda. Josephat Alex anasema, which leaders do we have so-called learned? How could you allow enemies to spy your bedroom? Surely, who are these leaders? They don't deserve to hold those positions. Very, very bad. Mtazamaji, ningetaka aswa kusikia maoni yako kulingana na hili. Leave your comment on the comment section. See you in our next video. This is the Kenyan Daily Report.